Hi everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Right now we have Lua for you. Lua is our young adult two-toed sloth. If you look right here where I'm pointing on her front feet, you'll see she has two toes, and that's how you can tell that she is a two-toed sloth. There are two-toed sloths and three-toed sloths. You might be able to see in the back here on her back feet, she has three toes. That's just kind of to confuse you a little bit. You always look at the front feet to tell what type of sloth it is. So Lua was born here at the zoo on March 17th of 2017, so she recently had a birthday. She's now 3 years old, and female sloths become mature right around 3 to 4, so she is considered an adult now. We had to hand raise her. Her mom, Marilyn, is a wonderful mother, but we learned from the past that she just doesn't produce milk. So armed with that knowledge, we decided to pull her. We had her within an hour of her birth, cut the umbilical cord, and started feeding her formula. We have a wonderful vet staff and keeper staff that helped raise her. And as you can tell, she has done great. So some pretty cool things that we did when we raised her, some neat facts, is she was on a surrogate mom in an incubator for the first 3 months of her life. You might have seen pictures of her on a stuffed elephant. That was her mom. And that was because sloths they can't regulate their temperature as well as most mammals. So for the first 3 months of her life, she needed us to regulate her temperature for her. New parents out there, we understand what you are going through right now. When we were hand raising her in the beginning, Lua had to be fed every 2 hours. And of course, at first she wasn't very good with the bottle, so it'd take about an hour for feeding. And then an hour later, we were right back doing it again. We ended up bottle feeding her for about 10 months, which is about the length of time that a baby sloth would be with her mom in the wild. So we started introducing solid foods to her at 5 weeks old. And one of the kind of funny things, and one of the big differences between human babies and sloth babies, is that you do not introduce new foods to a sloth. When you do it, you wait 5 to 10 days between. And the reason why you wait that long is that a sloth only defecates, urinates, or pees or poops once a week. So you need to make sure that it's going through correctly. So Lua here is exhibiting very normal sloth behavior. They hang upside down. That is the natural thing that they do. All their internal organs, all the stuff they have inside of them, are actually rotated 90 degrees. And that is so that they can hang upside down and nothing has too much pressure on it. The way she's holding her hands right now is completely natural for her. It takes absolutely no effort. To flex her hand, that actually takes some effort. In the wild, what they will do is they'll find a crook of a tree that looks almost like a seat, kind of a tree branch near a trunk. And what they'll do is they'll hold on with one hand and kind of curl up in a ball, and that's when you know a sloth truly is resting. Lua is a really nice blonde color. She looks very much like her mom. Her dad's a bit darker in color than she is. But what's neat with their fur is that it grows from their stomach down towards the ground, once again, because they live their entire lives upside down. And this fur here, when you touch it, it's actually very soft. Most people think of it as a wire-haired terrier, but instead it is very soft. The fur itself, the hairs are hollow. In the wild, you'll see green sloths. And it's not because they're actually green. It's actually because there are algae that will live inside the hair. That gives the algae a safe place to live, but it also gives the sloth some nice camouflage. If you just see a green lump in a tree, you're basically just looking at the tree, according to most predators. So most people think of sloths and they think of slow. And it is true. They sleep a lot during the day. They don't sleep all in one stretch. And they are mostly nocturnal, which means that they move around at night. But they can move quickly when they want to. She's just kind of hanging and sleeping right now. So as I said earlier, one of the anti-predator defenses that they have is that they will only pee and poop once a week. And the reason for that is, in order to do that, they have to come down to the bottom of a tree. And that's when they're most vulnerable. Their predators are harp eagles, but mostly large cats, such as jaguars. So they have made the ability to be able to hold it in and be able to only have to come down once a week, which really helps them out. Everything else they do is upside down. They even give birth upside down. In the wild, they eat mostly leaves. Here at the zoo, she gets a nice fresh salad. She really likes her oranges, so her carrots and her sweet potato. She will eat broccoli and green beans, but they have to be steamed just right. She's a little spoiled. And she eats her lettuce. She really likes, you might see her eating some biscuits occasionally when we do chats here at the zoo. And what those are is it's a commercially prepared biscuit that has a lot of vitamins and minerals for animals that eat leaves. But don't tell her that they're healthy. She eats them like they're cookies, which makes us really, really happy.
Lauren, are you ready for some questions?
I am.
We have a lot here. Let me start from the top. Oh, Jenny wants to tell you, Gabriel of age 6 says, my favorite animal is a sloth.
That's awesome. I'm with you. They are very cool creatures.
Heather wants to know a little bit more on why she was taken from her mother.
So we'd learned in the past that Marilyn, even though she does everything right as a mom, she doesn't make milk. So it wasn't possible to leave her with her mom because, of course, she wouldn't have gotten any food. And then her mom tends to hang up very high in a large exhibit. It wouldn't have been possible for us to keep the temperature as good as we needed it to be and as constant as it needed to be. And it would have been very stressful on her and her mom to just have to keep pulling her off for assist rearing. So we made the decision to take her and hand raise her.
All right, Jackson, age 6, wants to know, how sharp are her claws?
They're actually not sharp at all. They are very blunt because she doesn't use it in defense. It's just to kind of hang on to branches.
And, we got another little guy here who wants to know how old she is.
Lua is 3 years old. She turned 3 on March 17th.
We got just so many fans for Lua right now talking about how beautiful she is. Hi from Chicago. Okay, Gabriel, age 6, wants to know, can you pet a sloth?
In the wild, no, we wouldn't recommend it. But when we reopen again, we do take Lua out for keeper chats. One of the advantages of her being hand raised is that she really enjoys the attention, so she knows to come out on this particular platform. And if the conditions are right and she's in the mood, we can sometimes let small groups of people pet her.
All right, Lisa would like to know, how much food does she eat in a day?
That's a good question. So she has a large salad that we provide because, as I told you, they only pee and poop once a week. So basically, as she fills up with that, she doesn't eat nearly as much. But we give her about 5 biscuits a day and then a very large plate full of salad that she'll eat.
We've got Ben Baker here. He'd like to know, what sound does Lua make?
She doesn't really make a sound anymore. When baby sloths are young and they're calling for their mom, they will often make kind of a meh, meh sound, which is their way of saying, hey, Mom, I'm hungry.
That was really adorable, Lauren. And just to let everybody know that there is no error, she's just not moving right now. A lot of people want to know if this is a frozen screen, but that's just how still she is. How long will she stay still like that, you think?
For quite a while. Like I said, we have taught her that when she's on this, if she stays still with all 4 feet on, there's a chance that she'll be able to get petted, and she knows that she stays out for interaction with people. And Lua, while she nowadays acts more like a sloth, she kind of hangs up high and everything, she still very much likes the company of people.
All right. And Joe, at age 10, why do they go to the ground to use the bathroom?
That is because they don't want the predators to know where they are. So they go down to the ground of a different tree than they're going to be on later on to pee and poop, so the smell of the sloth is on a different tree. And it's a pretty cool strategy.
Oh, clever girl. Let's see. Oh, we got a very popular question. Brady would like to know, what does her fur feel like?
It's really soft. I know it looks kind of wiry, but it's really soft.
Let's see. Let's keep going. Oh, we got Lila, age 9. Do you give her baths?
We don't. They're actually incredibly clean critters, so she keeps herself clean.
How does she keep herself clean? Is it like a cat where she's going to lick herself, or?
I mean, mainly it's just that she goes down to a specific area to use the bathroom and doesn't really get that dirty.
Yeah, you're welcome to move that camera around. All right. Let's see. Guys, your questions are coming in fast. Let me see. Adam, age 6. Is she a 3-toed sloth?
She is a 2-toed sloth. So Let me move the camera a little bit closer so you can see her feet. So you see that her front feet there? She has 2 toes, so that makes her a 2-toed sloth.
Ah, there we go. Oh, I like this from Taylor Johnson. Did she go through the terrible twos?
Not really. She's really a very sweet, well-behaved sloth. She is spoiled, though, so she has a very strong personality.
So does she have her diva moments then?
She does. If she doesn't want to come out, she'll let you know.
Okay, we got Riley, age 8. How long do female sloths stay pregnant?
They will be pregnant anywhere from 6 to 11 months, depending on the species. And Lua's mom was right around 11 months.
All right. AJ, age 12, wants to know, can they be aggressive?
They can, but that is only if you're trying to get them down off a tree. And I would be too, if you're trying to get me off of my home branch. Sloths are very even-tempered, very nice, but like every wild animal, you just leave them alone and admire them from a distance.
Oh, this is one of my favorite questions to get an answer from. Anna Claire, age 10, wants to know, how long can Lua hold on for?
Oh, wow. As long as she wants is really the answer. They are amazingly strong. And like I said, it's relaxing posture for her to be hanging upside down.
See, we got people. Thanks so much, Miss Christy, for buying a membership. Carla wants to know, what do you do for enrichment?
So we do a lot of foraging enrichment. We can hang her greens and her veggies up so that she has to kind of go around and find it. But with Lua, the best enrichment we can give for her is to bring her out for chats to meet people. She, once again, absolutely loves coming out for these kinds of encounters. And the keepers that were hand raising her had small children ranging from about 2 to 5 years when she was coming home with us. And so that has made it so that she really likes people and she really loves children. If there's a large group of children out front of her exhibit, you'll see her come down from her corner to come down and say hello.
All right, we got a friend on Twitter here, at Lewin, wants to know how long sloths live in the wild and in zoos.
So in captivity, they can live about 30 years. I'm honestly not sure how long in the wild. I'd have to look that up.
Let's see. Of course, the always question. Mary wants to know, are sloths legal as pets?
No. And you wouldn't want one. They are very cool creatures to admire in a zoo or from videos in the wild, but they're definitely not suitable for pets.
And I apologize to who asked this question, but I saw a little guy did ask, can she swim?
Oddly enough, yes. I've never seen Lua swim. But if you go into the Google search engine and put in sloth swimming, you'll see video of it, and it's amazing. They're really good swimmers. And it's one way that they disperse. So when the forest floods, they can drop down and swim to a different tree. It's an easier way of locomotion than trying to go across the ground.
How long has our zoo had sloths?
Oh, goodness. We've had sloths since the Nocturnal Mammal Building opened, the Animals of the Night exhibit opened back in 1995.
All right. Emmy, age 8, wants to know, does mold grow in her fur?
Mold doesn't, but as I said, algae does. And that's a symbiotic relationship that kind of lets her blend in and gives the algae a place to stay.
Well, Lua, you just have so many fans on here. They all want to tell you how beautiful you are and how cute you are, and they're so glad you're moving because they did not understand you were sleeping there for a minute. Oh, this is a good one. We got a kidder here. Jackson, age 5, wants to know, what does she smell like?
Normally, kind of nothing. She doesn't really have an odor. That, once again, is a bit of a defense mechanism there. It's a very distinctive smell the one day a week when they go to the bathroom, and I don't really know how to describe it, but herself, like I said, they're very clean and they're kind of odorless.
Oh, here's one from Shelby. What's her favorite food?
The biscuits that she's eating right now. And the second would probably be sweet potato.
And Crystal would like to know, how long does she usually sleep?
They can sleep up to 16 hours a day. But like I said, it's kind of spread throughout the day. Whenever we climb in and we check on her or her mom and dad, and they quite often just turn around and look at us so that even though they look like they're sleeping, they're actually awake.
Lucy, age 9, wants to know if she was born with those long claws.
She was born with fairly good sized claws for her body. They do grow. She wears them down, and she's actually very good about letting us trim them too.
And Lila wants to confirm, are sloths the slowest animals?
I honestly don't know. They can move quickly when they want to, but once again, part of their defense is not being seen, and I don't know many trees that move quickly, so they kind of stay slow and steady.
I guess slow and steady wins that race. Nicholas, age 7, wants to know if you have ever gotten scratched by her.
I haven't, no.
Just so many more things popping in here, just saying how wonderful Lua is and how beautiful you are. Way to go, girl. Jessica, age 41, does she sleep upside down?
She does. They live almost their entire lives upside down. When they're sleeping, they typically find an area where the tree trunk meets the branches, and they'll hold on to a branch with one of their hands, and then they kind of curl over into a ball, and that's a truly relaxed sloth.
And we do have a lot of people just tuning in. Lauren, you may want to do one more introduction and just touch on the fact of a lot of people want to know if they can hold her or pet her.
All right, guys, so this is Lua. Lua is our hand-raised sloth. She was born on March 17, 2017, and so she just recently turned 3. So she is now considered an adult. They typically reach maturity somewhere between 3 and 4 years old. She is a 2-toed sloth. Let's move the camera a little bit so you can see her hand. There you go. So the hand and frame now, you'll see there are 2 toes. So that's what makes her a Linnaeus 2-toed sloth. And no, you can't hold her. When we first started doing keeper chats with her, because she was hand raised, she did enjoy being held. But it was a bit of an artificial thing due to the type of upbringing she had. Starting when she turned about 1.5 years, she really started showing us that she didn't want to be held anymore. And instead, we built this particular type of play gym where she can hang on. And we've taught her that so that she can come and say hi to the public, because we use her for a lot of keeper chats, that if she comes and she puts all 4 feet up nicely on this play gym, that she can say hello. In certain conditions, when it's small groups and when she's in the mood, we do sometimes allow visitors to pet.
I thought for a minute she was going to fall asleep with that biscuit in her hand. That was adorable. Annabelle, age 11, wants to know what different colors can sloths be?
So her dad is a lot darker than she is. He's a very dark brown. Her mom's very blonde like her. And that's mostly the color that you'll see this particular species be. In the wild, their hairs are hollow and they can get algae colonized. The nice thing about that for the sloths is it turns them a slight greenish tinge, which helps them blend into the tree. So you sometimes see that. The most common sloth that you see in commercials and as stuffed animals are actually 3-toed sloths, and they're lighter with a dark band around their eyes.
Okay. Do they have fleas?
They do not, but one of the cool things about sloths is they do have a very specific, and it's specific to each species, type of moth that will live in their fur. So the moths live in the fur, and then when the sloths go to the bathroom, they'll actually go down and lay their eggs in the poop, which is kind of gross but kind of cool.
It is very cool. We want to know how fast, Megan, age 11, wants to know how fast can a sloth go?
I don't know exactly the speed. For the most part, they kind of move very slowly, and that's because when you think of it, they're hanging out in a tree, they're trying to blend in with the tree, and trees don't move. That being said, if we are trying to get her down, or we're trying to get her mom or dad down for a weight or anything like that, they can move quicker than you'd expect.
Well, that's a good time to bring that up because Lila would like to know, how much does she weigh?
She is hanging out right around, let's see here, it's 17 kgs, so around 20 pounds now. Her mom and dad typically hang somewhere between 22 and 26.
Oh, and Avery, age 2, wants to tell Lua that she loves you. We have Lila at 7. Who are her predators?
So harpy eagles are one of the predators that can take them out of the canopy where they live, and then large cats such as jaguars are the other predator. They're safer up in the trees than they are on the ground.
And Nicholas, age 7, wants to know, where in the world are they likely to live?
These guys live in the rainforest of South America and Central America.
Birdie, age 7, does she live with her mom and dad at the zoo?
She does not. So we do have her mom and dad in a separate exhibit in the same building, the Animals of the Night exhibit. But sloths themselves are solitary. They like to live by themselves. So we do have her in a separate exhibit. She also views herself as a sloth/person. So a lot of her socialization occurs with keepers and with visitors. Right now she's in an exhibit with an armadillo, and very recently we added in an owl monkey as a friend. So that's a pretty cool pairing we have going on there.
And Landon, age 8, wants to know, are sloths endangered?
They are threatened at this point. Anything that lives in, of course, the rainforest due to deforestation, they're starting to have some issues.
Okay. Karen would like to know, are they nocturnal?
Yes. So especially two-toed sloths are mostly nocturnal. Your three-toed sloths tend to be a little bit more diurnal, but they're still technically classified as nocturnal.
Lucy, age 6, wants to ask if they always eat their food slow and hold it in their mouth for a long time before they eat it, and to tell Lua that she loves her.
So they do tend to eat slowly, and once again, that's just a predator defense. If you move slowly, hopefully no one will see you. It can take Lua a little bit of time for her to decide if she wants to eat something, which is why she'll hold it in her mouth, and she's about ready to go reach for a camera in a moment. I'm going to move her for a second.
Oh.
Silly goose.
Finally starting to explore a little bit.
Sorry. I know. I'm sorry. So yeah, they usually eat pretty slowly.
So we've got @FlyGirl on Twitter. She wants to know if her nose is cold like a dog.
It's not hot, but it's not cold. It's kind of warm.
Is it moist at all, like a pet would be, like a dog at home?
It is, and they actually sweat and cool themselves off through their nose. So if you see water droplets on her nose, it usually means she's a little warm.
All right, we have a ton of questions I've been kind of watching here, asking, does she see upside down? Does blood rush to her head? I think they need a little bit more explanation about how she constantly hangs like that and doesn't get dizzy.
Yeah, so they have some of the coolest adaptations that allow them to live like that. They do not get a headache like we would. There are valves in their bloodstream that would prevent the blood from going back to the head. Their hands themselves, our hands, when you think of if you're gripping, it takes a lot of effort to keep holding on, right? Well, with sloths, their hands, that gripping action is actually the same as our hands in a relaxed state. That's how their hands naturally are. They have to put effort into making their hands straighter. So that's actually an incredibly comfortable position for her to be in, and she can be in there for a very, very long time.
She's pretty comfortable right there. @FlyGirl again on Twitter wants to know, what family are sloths in?
They're Xenarthrans.
Oh, okay. Do two-toed and three-toed sloths live natively in the same region?
I believe there is some overlap, but I'd have to look at actual range maps to be able to tell you species specifically who would be able to see who.
All right, I have never heard this question asked, and now I'm very curious. Let's see if you know. Amy would like to know, don't sloths have 4 stomachs, which is why they eat slowly? We're challenging your keeper knowledge today.
Indeed. Most herbivores have a stomach that has multiple chambers in it that allows them to kind of ferment and eat, get more nutrients out of it. I believe sloths do have that.
So MEHA has clearly been listening. She'd like to know, why do sloths' hair look rough, but it's actually soft when you touch?
I have a feeling that it looks kind of wiry because of the tubular shape that allows that algae to kind of go in. And I think it's just an artifact of that.
I love this comment here. Such a cute face. Never realized it until this broadcast. Thank you. Here's one for you, Lauren. Presley, age 6, wants to know, do you like working with sloths?
I love working with sloths. Lua especially. She is just so funny. She in exhibit while we're cleaning, she always comes up and says hello to us, and you have to say hi, and then she'll go up. And she also likes to play a game with us while we're cleaning. It's kind of goofy. You'll be cleaning mirrors in her exhibit, and she'll try to sneak up on you. But of course, there are mirrors, so you can see her. So if you say, "I see you, Lua," she'll actually back away, which is kind of funny.
And Karen, age 49, would like to know, why are sloths so slow? Is it something to do with their metabolism?
Partially. So one of the reasons why they're slow is due to the fact that they want to stay hidden from predators. Being still, moving slowly, it kind of makes you blend in with the trees. They do have a very low metabolic rate and a very low temperature, and that does also mean that they can't move as quickly as some other mammals. The other kind of cool thing with sloths and their low metabolic rate is that they're almost heterothermic, which basically means instead of keeping themselves 98.7 like we do, they let their temperature kind of go up and down along with the environment.
It's kind of a fun one here. And guys, we are kind of coming to the end of our segment. We're going to get as many questions as we can with Lauren and Lua. Bianca would like to know, how long would it take a sloth to walk/crawl a mile?
I do not know. If you type that into a search engine, though, I do believe people have a kilometer per hour speed on a sloth.
We're going to get to some of our last questions here. Lola wants to know, what color are her eyes?
They're brown.
So we're not going to see them now. It looks like she's going on back to sleep.
It's what they do best.
Do sloths have a good sense of smell? Annabelle, age 11.
They have an excellent sense of smell. And that's partially because they're nocturnal. And so eyes don't help you out a great deal, but you can smell a lot.
Well, as we wrap up here, we're asking if they can be a predator, but I don't think anyone's even asked, what does she eat in a day? Is she a herbivore? Is she a carnivore, omnivore?
She's an herbivore. She will eat leaves. So no, she is nobody's predator.
Unless you're a carrot, right?
Indeed. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. And we really hope to see you again once the zoo opens.
All right, Lou, can you open and say bye? That's her way, I guess.